So I will be the only one whose voice they can hear. Okay. So this meeting so the last meeting that we had was mostly just to get input and get everyone's, feelings about, their, what they like about the park, what their concerns are, future developing they thought we should do, and ideas and suggestions. So this meeting is a little more after having listened to that input, and then also the surveys that we had a little over, I keep getting more, so I think I'm at about 112 surveys right now, but I got the most of them weeks ago. So I've gone through and put them on a spreadsheet, kind of tabulated what the trends were. And so based off of all of that feedback, we have come up with some plans. So today is more about presenting the plans, and then afterwards I have just very simple comment sheet that you can fill out and give some feedback about how you feel about those plans, or any other suggestions or anything that we should take into consideration. And then at the end of all this, we hope to have plans that a master park plan that the council can approve. So the computer's acting funny on me, so I can't quite figure out how I got that screen is not showing on my screen. But it does allow me to go through here. So, oh, no, it doesn't. Okay, maybe I'll just close all of these and start over. I'm going to have all of the things go wrong that can go wrong because Courtney's not here. So, try and pull it back up. No, I don't want to sign into Microsoft. See if this does it. Yay! We have it back. Okay. So, what is a master park plan? So this is going to be an overall guide to inform decisions and policy making concerning a park system. A park plan is informed by the needs of the community. A park plan establishes our project priorities, and a park plan is used when applying for funding. For example, many RCO, that's the Recreation and Conservation Office with Washington State, those grants require a master plan to be on file with them to even apply. So this is something, not only is it a good practice for us to have so that we have a plan going forward as a city, but also, and as a community, but also so that we can apply for funding. Our last master park plan was adopted. It was started in 2016. I think there was like an amendment adoption in 2018. So the most recent plan we have is dated 2018. And I did bring a copy of it if anybody would like to look at it. It was a 20-year plan, which contained a short-term 6-year plan. So the 6-year plan is what has expired, and we need to update. So we're not looking to do a complete revision, a complete new plan. We're not starting from scratch. We're just taking the old plan and updating it with the things that we have changed in the park and things that we hope to continue to upgrade going forward. So just touching on some of the community feedback that we had. This is some of the top results from our survey. So the first thing that was asked in the survey was, what brings the community to the Tenino City Park, more or less. Walking and hiking was by far the number one. The playground came in second. Festivals was very popular, and sports. So those are like the top four answers. What upgrades have they enjoyed? The playground, very popular. Accessibility trail, pump track, and the new fence around the pond are the top 4 answers. What accessibility issues have people encountered in the park? The number 1 answer was none, but a lot of people did have feedback concerning things that surprised me. I thought everyone was going to say things like uneven ground, or we couldn't get to this or that, accessibility issues in that way. But they felt like their use of the park was a little bit blocked First by when our restrooms are locked. So we are keeping those open year-round now and have a schedule to lock them just at night. Older kids not playing nice was one of the answers that came up multiple times. Projects taking too long. And not enough little kid playground toys. So we've got this great new playground, but a lot of people feel like there's not a lot for the littlest guys. Sports facilities to improve or add. The number one answer was basketball. So we don't have basketball in the park. People seem to think it's a good idea to add that in, so that is something that's in our plan. Soccer, softball, and Little League just need more work, more maintenance, more upgrades to the facilities that we already have. So that's not going to be a whole new thing, just working on with what we have. Campground use priorities. Number one answer was tents. But cabins came in second, and cabins was an idea. We threw it all out there. It was a little bit multiple choice, and what do you think? And a lot of people were like, oh, hadn't really thought of cabins before, but they are an option. And one lady even said, oh, wouldn't it be great if you had cabins, and then when my family comes to town, there's a place that they could stay. But RVs came in third, but they remain a popular option. And then, of course, upgrading the bathroom and the showers. So our facilities from 1973, so it's seen better days, and it's been retrofitted too many times, so it could use a remodel similar to what happened to the restroom by the playground. Quarry pool priorities, the bathhouse. It's a good thing that the public said the bathhouse, because the health department agrees with them. We have to get more toilets, more running water facilities. Seating area, shade areas, and concessions were the top answers. Swim dock was also right up there, but we're having troubles with the logistics of the safety of a swim dock in a pool that's as deep as the quarry pool is. So the quarry pool natural area, open to the public, most people thought that was a pretty good idea. Youth fishing came in second. Adding a gazebo. There's a little peninsula that goes out into the pool area, and putting a gazebo on that appealed to people. And then rentable for wedding or private events, so you could rent the space and have your wedding or family reunion there, and get your picture taken with the waterfall in the background. That would be nice. The Tenino Depot Museum Complex picnic area was the number one answer. Public archive that's open to the public was number two. Quarry pool viewing area, number three, and improved parking was the last. We want to update our 6-year plan to include, let's see, is this the slide that I want? Okay, we're going to skip that. So this is from the public input meeting that we had last time. We have the posters over here, the 4 questions that we asked, and this was after they had listened to a presentation about the plans. So the positives, and I kind of summed it up based off the posters in our discussion. What's working in the park were trails and forests, the quarry pool and waterfall, ball fields, improvements to the playground, the quarry house, and parking. So their ideas and suggestions were things like ball field updates, concessions, scoreboards, and also cleaning up of the sand piles. They call them slag piles, but sand piles that come off the fields and get piled off the side of the trail. Benches along the accessibility trail. Maintenance came up again and again. A lot of the items on this list are on our current to-do list, because it's quite a long list of suggestions that they had over there. It's the last poster in that line. A lot of those are on our list and will probably be done fairly soon, so just kind of, and they're the ones that got like 1 vote So they're not probably going to make it into the master plan because hopefully they're low-hanging fruit and will happen soon. Concerns, let's see, where am I? Future development plans were the old park monitoring rule enforcement. So they worry about what's happening over in the old park. Campground improvements, including restrooms, soccer fields, and programs like youth camps and senior programs. So we kind of got a little off topic because this plan is more about buildings and grounds, and we did get into conversations about programming, which I'm glad to hear feedback on as well. Concerns in ranking order were maintenance and security. Those were the top things that came up with the group. Fencing around the ball fields, they like to see higher fences so that stray balls don't hit walkers. Protecting wildlife in the new property, and advertising our assets like the Quarry House and the Quarry Pool. So making sure people know that those are things that our community has to offer, that they can come and rent. Also, programming around the Quarry House for seniors was mentioned. Okay, so based off of all of that, the recommendations section in the old master plan, basically we went through that, and it was good. There was a lot of good stuff there in the 2016 plan, so we just kind of updated it to reflect now and going forward. So, and you can put these side by side and you'll see actually highlighted in the new, this is just a draft, so not been adopted and not official, but I highlighted all of the things that I've added to the plan. So like this section is all about these meetings. So that's getting added to the plan that we did these and we talked to people. So those are in there. But then you'll have several pages where basically, not a lot is changing. And then when we get to recommendations, I've kept pretty much all the old recommendations and just added a little bit to them to reflect now. Yeah, no, I know my highlighting's a little dark on that, but so increasing public safety was a really big one. So that's going to have to do with fencing around the Quarry Pool was part of the old plan, or fixing some of the fencing, removing the switchback trail along the hillside, and adding cameras. Those last two things are new to the master plan, but things that we are working on. Develop a plan to provide sustainable funding for the Quarry Memorial Pool. That is verbatim out of the old plan. So still working on that. We haven't been able to make a lot of progress on that because we've been closed for some years now. And so going forward, we'll see how we do this summer. I mean, the renovations may change what the income is from the Quarry Pool. Improve the campground by creating set sites for tents. They did do that after the last plan. And RVs, and adding cabin rentals to offset the need for accommodations for visitors to Tenino. So the cabin rental part, if we get cabins, that's new to the plan. Develop a plan for the city park to connect trails with adjacent properties such as Creekside Conservancy Wildlife Preserve. These trails can be both recreational and educational in nature. That is verbatim out of the old plan. Create trail maps and trailhead signs for the kiosk and at trailheads. So that is also, that's mostly out of the old plan. I think adding it to trailheads was my addition because I like to have a map at the trailhead. Okay. Pursue new projects such as, but not limited to, creation of pocket parks or the opening of the natural area by the Quarry Pool. Pocket parks is an old concept. The natural area by the Quarry Pool is my addition. Continuing to improvements at the community complex. That's the Quarry House Museum and Quarry Pool area. Most notably create parking, drop-off areas, improve utilities, bathhouse addition, and opening a natural area for recreation and private event rental. You can hear the things that are new in that. So the bathhouse addition was part of the old plan, but opening up the natural area is new. Identifying and pursuing potential funding sources to achieve the goals outlined in this plan. That's verbatim from the old plan. Enhancing and maintaining existing facilities to increase the likelihood of usability and thus revenue. For instance, the soccer fields, campground, and pool. That's from the old plan. And continue to improve recreational sport amenities like ball fields and facilities. Also basketball in the area vacated by the old playground. So that's all old except for the basketball part. And incidentally, there was basketball in the old plan, in the old graphics. So I can show you where the basketball court would have been, but it didn't happen. Okay, so that was one section about recommendations kind of that came out of the public input. And then also at the end, there's a whole section on finding revenue sources. And so I have highlighted in here 2 of the grants that we're going to apply for that are suggested. So we have been pretty diligent about going after funding sources so that we can do these projects in the park. That's why we've got so much done in the last so many years. So Chapter 7, Development Plan and Capital Improvement Program. So they gave a preface, and this is out of the old document. Improving and enhancing Tenino City Park and the Quarry Pool is the community's parks and recreation priority. Given the city's compact development pattern, enhancing recreation opportunities in Tenino City Park is the best way to serve the community with Tenino's limited resources. Improvement priorities are ranked as below. So just acknowledging that we only have so many resources, so we have to have priorities. So right at the top of the list, kind of a no-brainer, complete the Quarry Pool renovation. And then also trying to find funding to go ahead and put in that bathhouse facility, which, like I said before, is not just a priority for the community, but the health department for us to continue in the years to come. Prioritize maintenance schedule. That's something that's added because maintenance just kept coming up again and again. So we're just going to go ahead and put that in our master plan. Security and safety upgrades. This one is kind of top of the list because of public input. So we're going to continue, and we've been doing this. We've got quite a lot more cameras in the park than there used to be. There are cameras around the museum, around the quarry house, and the bathroom by the park, or the playground. And then we've got 2 game cameras. So we are working on adding cameras to the park because of incidents with vandalism and whatnot. And then we're also applied for a grant to have some cameras by the big rocks and the quarry pool, because we've also had people break into the quarry pool area. So that is definitely a priority. Closed danger trails. So that's specifically that trail that goes up behind the rocks. It's like a switchback trail that has not been maintained in years. It used to be maintained by volunteers, and they kind of, I think the person it was their passion project, passed away, and then nobody really took up the reins on that. And so the old railroad ties are rotten, and there's bees in them, and kids go up it, or kids and their families go up it, and they get stung by bees. And also, I came down it recently, and I thought, oh, this is steep, and there's just drop-offs everywhere, and I'm going, this isn't, and not to mention that kids just slide down the hillside and take all the foliage with them. So we're interested in just closing it off for a while, maybe coming up with a plan later, but there's already 3 trailheads to get to the top of that hill, so it's not really necessary to have it anymore. We could just let that become habitat again. So cultural area improvements, so the Veterans Memorial, parking and and pathways. So working on some things to make the area ADA accessible and better parking, whatnot. The Veterans Memorial is in the works. Number 5, park core and accessibility trail improvements. So that would be the basketball court, trail benches along the trail, the accessibility trail, and maybe a refresh in the kiosk to update some of the tourism info in there. So little things there, because our park core has seen a lot of attention lately. It doesn't have as many needs. Sport field improvements, lighting, pathways, support buildings need some maintenance work, safety fencing. So the safety fencing came right out of that. Campground improvements, tent sites. We have 5 numbered sites. People are saying that they'd like, instead of the open camping area, that maybe they would like sites in that area too. We'll see if we can figure that out. Cabins, RVs, group in camp host sites. So those are actually out of the old plan. Restroom renovation, parking, etc. Also, organizing parking in the adjacent old park is a priority. You can probably appreciate that. Implement trail system, including trailheads and staff access in newly acquired 60 acres of conservation land. So that's a whole new bullet point on here because we didn't have those 60 acres before. New trails and trail connections. This is an old bullet point, but it still is something that needs to be worked on. So the Yelm, Rainier, Tenino trail connections, extensions, north, south, west, sidewalk connections between neighborhoods and Tenino City Park, Scatter Creek Trail. Also complete the loop on the accessibility trail. So the only thing I added there was completing the accessibility trail loop. All the rest is ongoing and probably will take quite a few years to continue, but they did do the little extension from the city park down to Crowder. So little by little, we'll make progress on extending the trails, but it's expensive to do and it will probably come in fits and bursts. Develop museum complex site plan. So to implement some improvements around the museum, to better incorporate the museum into the park, promote tourism, and create more manageable facilities for a small staff. So a lot of times the museum has one person running it, and then they've got like 5 buildings. So at some point it might make sense to try and figure out how to fit it all into one building so that it's manageable for a volunteer, so they're not having to leave the museum unattended to go open the caboose or the Tickner Schoolhouse or something like that. So there's some ideas about that, but it might make a lot of sense to have a comprehensive site plan for that area. The new parks and open spaces, established with development and or utilizing existing city-owned properties. So this is an old one, and it's kind of the one that I think the council might want to talk about, figuring out or how to implement that. But that is the idea that around town there could be some properties that are owned by the city or could be acquired and made into little pocket parks to serve that far end of the community and that far end of the community that might be further away from the park. There could be maintenance issues with something like that, but it's still something to consider. So this again is the old site plan, and here we have the new ones. So these are not finalized. There's opportunity still to tweak on it. So I just want to give everybody the opportunity to look at those in person. I'll also just show you real quick. Here's a couple pictures of this is the Norseman land. You can I know there's a glare on the TV, so it might be kind of hard to see, but you can always come look at it on my computer. And I do have drone footage on the computer here too that you can look at just to get a feel of what it's like up there. It's not flat. There's some hills. I don't know, there might be a viewpoint up there somewhere. There's a couple of wetlands. One of them is pretty substantial. I started wondering if there wasn't a beaver up there making it bigger, which, that'd be kind of fun. And this picture shows a trail that's existing on the property that was made by a neighbor's tractor. So he was using the property and going up there and hunting, and then would go up with his tractor and retrieve deer or whatever. So those are there. He knows he doesn't get to do that anymore, and he's okay with it. But it was kind of actually to find those on the property. You could be like, oh, people have been up here. Ooh, but part of me was like, oh, look, there's trails. So we're not completely starting from scratch. And as you can see, this is a forest this was logged in 2012 and replanted shortly after. And the trees are already getting to be good size, so you actually feel like you're in a forest. So this is a whole nother management thing. Like we need to apply for grants to have it thinned so that the healthy trees can grow faster and create more forest, and then also apply for some grants to put in our trail system. I was telling you folks earlier that the money to purchase this is coming from the Angela J. Bowen Conservancy Foundation, so it was a donation. And we can use that when we apply for some grants as matching dollars. So it puts us in a position to go for grants that we might not have been able to go for on our own. So that's pretty exciting. Hopefully we get those. And then we can use them to do a lot of these trail projects, signage, trailheads, maybe even upgrade some of our bathrooms that are near trailheads so that they can be trailhead bathrooms, like the campground. So that's kind of the end. These were the questions that were on the last one, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. About the plans, you can come up and take a look. I have copies of the old plan and this lovely copy of the new one, all yeah, hold on, where are we at? Well, this is 37 pages, and it's not complete because we will at the end add estimates for all the work that we want to do, and that'll probably bump it up to about 45 pages. So, but you're welcome to look at that. I can't give you copies of that because it's still a draft plan. It's not been approved by council. But yeah, any questions about any of this? Oh, yes.
I just want to say I'm glad the city had some foresight many years ago to hire you, because having sat on the park committee back when we created the plan back in, I think it was 2010 and again 2016,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those things were able to get done, but we were also able to get grants, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're here, please sign in, because even the sign-in sheets help when you're writing grants, how much involvement is involved. But it's nice to have someone being the point person, because it was really hard to do it in committee before.
Yeah.
But it is our community. It's the heart of our community. I mean, the park was full every weekend. I just wish that we would have fought harder, or someone would have fought harder when they named the trail. It should have been the Tenino. Instead of the Yelm.
I heard one.
Alphabetical order, and also it started here and went north.
Yeah.
It started here with railroad tracks 100 plus years ago. And it'd be nice to have Tenino be not always taking up the last, but that's done. But it's nice to see basketball, because that was something that's been something I've been pushing at the school level. You drive through Rainier, it's being used all the time right there, and that's been a community involvement. But I think another thing that down the road we need to think about is pickleball for our seniors, because that is becoming very, very popular, getting our seniors more active. But the accessibility trail has been, it's phenomenal for our people just to walk and feel safe,
Yeah,
I've had people say, yeah, my husband sits in my car because he can't walk, but he can see me the whole way walking,
yeah,
that's great.
yeah,
And people are getting out and using the park, so it's exciting. And then going out and getting the grant to get more, that's great. Because down the road, that, I don't know if that ever fits into our groundwater possibilities up there too, as being a green area with wells or anything up there on the hill. 50 years from now, long after I'm gone, but it's a good plan. So thank you for your work.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's, this was probably not too difficult because this is all I've been thinking about for a couple years. And, walking through the park, when I see people, I stop and talk to everybody. I ask kids, what would you guys like to see? So I've been collecting, this is official public feedback, but I've been trying to collect public feedback for a while.
The one feedback we did get, because I'm glad to see Pocket Park still on there.
Mm-hmm.
The comment that came up from someone that's passed away now was our Christmas tree kept dying.
Yeah.
And there was talk about if there's any way to get a grant to buy the property across the street right in front of the Oregon Trail marker and turn that into an
Oh.
Oregon Trail park and plant a tree in the middle of that for your Christmas tree. Then it's owned by the city and you're protecting the Oregon Trail marker along with it. And there's 2 lots there. And that was something we had talked about, but it takes money.
Yeah, it would take money, but that's a
But
very interesting idea.
But that was a Pocket Park idea.
Okay. Yeah, the pocket park didn't have a lot of it was in there, and I saw it, and I thought, it didn't have a lot of specifics about places in mind. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming, and please do, if you have any comments that you want to make, I do have the little comment sheets there, and feel free to go ahead and look at the graphics, and yeah, thank you for coming.
I would say, yes, walk around up by the big rocks and take a look. It's some major improvements over there. It's going to be nice when it gets done, and they're working hard to get that pool open. By June 1st, kind of a soft opening, and then the middle of June for official opening. So that's, to me, is very exciting to get that facility open again, because that's a big one, I think, in our community, and having it closed for several years is,
Yeah, Maya will be all hands on deck to get that cleaned up and ready for inspection and opening. Yeah.
And part of the reason I'm just talking now, but when you do an upgrade like that, it's kind of like when you do major upgrades on your house, you have to meet whole new standards. So the health department is basically mandated that you add more bathrooms, more showers. So that's part of our, I think, hopefully shorter term plan is to find some funding to build a new. You can see it on the map there if you want to look at it. But
Yeah.
it'll be a super nice facility, and it can be accessed from inside the pool, and then off season if there's some access from outside for people. So that would be a major project, and I think really add to the park and the pool.
Yeah, it'll have the tentative plans right now is it'll have 2 family bathrooms on the outside that can be accessed year round. So that'll be nice, instead of a facility that's only used a couple months out of the year.
Has there been any thought of doing what Centralia does? 30 years ago when I was in college, I had a friend that had a great job. He had a place to live rent-free, and his job was to open up 4 doors, park gate in the morning at daylight, and close it at night, dump trash, etc. But he got to live on. But his job was then to do those things, which can help with some of your security issues, some of those things. Especially if you get to the point where you're adding cabins and things like that down the road, that might be something to think about. Because the security issue is an issue.
Yeah, we have talked about a camp host.
Yeah. But I'm talking year round.
Yeah.
Because right now you don't have a camp host, and every weekend I come back and have to clean up things in Parkside and look at video cameras because we got kids just destroying everything out back. So.
Yeah. It's another thing is working on developing relationships with those kids is
Yes.
it's interesting because if I engage them in an activity like planting trees, they're all for it.
Yep. Unfortunately, it's been a few adults as well.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah, stealing traffic cones, trying to keep them so kids don't get ran over in a crosswalk.
Yeah.
We lost 2 of them the last month.
Traffic cones, not kids.
Yeah. You know, but, yeah.
All right.
Good work.
Thank you.